Hi everyone, my name is Varsha and welcome to Study with Varsha. So, in today's session, we are going to take a deep dive in Amazon EKS, that is Elastic Kubernetes Services. And starting from the basics of Kubernetes, its architecture, networking, security, storage, auto scaling, and finally CI/CD and GitOps with the real-time demos and interview insights I'll try to cover. So this EKS session I'll take in total 3 days. So today is the day one. Previously I thought to make in one day only, but it's not seems to be practical because many people know about Kubernetes, but many people doesn't know. So if I'll explain in a single day only, it will be really difficult for them to understand. That's why I try to cover in 3 days. So before getting to know and explore about EKS, I'm just hoping that you people know about basics of Kubernetes. If you don't know, then also no worries. Today we will discuss each and everything. And with the help of this video, what I am thinking that you people will get to understand EKS. Now, without wasting our time, we will just start and I just want to show you which topic I'm going to cover today. See, first thing will be that basic plus architecture. In that, first topic is what is Kubernetes and versus EKS. So this is the first topic, that what is Kubernetes and EKS. So if you are talking about Kubernetes, so that is Kubernetes. So that is first point. Okay, let me increase the font size. Okay, now I hope you have able to see it. So in Kubernetes, that question is what is Kubernetes? Okay, so if you all ask, see, so Kubernetes is open source. First thing is that it is open source. Second thing, that is open source container orchestration platform for deploying, scaling and managing containerized applications. So it is open source and we used for Kubernetes for what? We all know that it is an orchestration platform and here we can deploy and scale like and manage our containerized applications. Now if we'll discuss about EKS, so EKS means Elastic Kubernetes Services. It here, if we are using EKS, so AWS managed Kubernetes control plane. Okay. Here you don't need to manage about the Kubernetes control plane. Here AWS will manage and AWS runs and manages masters. Like masters in the sense that API server, etcd, scheduler controller. This is all the that architecture is there na in Kubernetes. So all thing will be taken care by AWS itself. You only manage worker node and the workloads. So in the master node, like two thing will be there. In if you know the architecture of the Kubernetes, so you basically know that there are two, one master node and one the worker node. So in master node, something is there, API server, which you use to connect between the servers. Let me show the architecture of Kubernetes, then you will get to the idea. Architecture of Kubernetes. See, image form I just want to show you. So see, if we'll see this also, not this one is fine. Okay, so here if you're, that is the Kubernetes master. Okay, and one second, and this is the worker nodes. So all this part is there, na, that API server, controller, scheduler, etcd. Etcd is nothing but the database for the Kubernetes. So if you are using EKS, so all this thing will be taken care by whom? All this thing will take care by AWS. You just have to manage our worker nodes. Okay. So now come to the our topic. And now second thing was that we have to, I'll this told this thing, this is complete. Now AWS responsibility versus your responsibilities. So if you are talking about responsibility, so in AWS responsibility, that control plane, API server, etcd control scheduler, so that will come in the master. Here just now I show you API server this. So this all thing will be taken care by AWS. And if it will taken care by AWS, so auto scale and everything will be there. So it will be highly available, and patching of the control plane also. And that automatic backups for of etcd will be there. Etcd means database. So if that thing is managing by AWS, so automatic backup should be there. And Kubernetes version upgrade for control plane will be also there. Now, this all task, control plane, high availability, automatic backup, and Kubernetes versions, that is the responsibility of AWS. Now, what is our responsibility? So, our responsibility is worker node. So in the worker nodes, that provisioning is there, patching if self-managed thing is there, that we have to take care. And that networking part. Networking part is very important, like NACL, SGS, CNI. So that networking part we have to take care about if you are deploying an application on EKS. And that storage integration, like if you want to integrate, if you don't want to uh, store everything in etcd, you want to store integration, that EBS or EFS, that we have to manage. And deployment services like RBAC mechanism, IAM roles, that thing also, and deployments that we'll have to take care. And observability, scalability, and security policies, so all that thing is our responsibility. AWS will take the master node responsibility. Okay, very good. So these two things we discussed. What is Kubernetes versus EKS? Our responsibilities and AWS responsibility. Now draw architecture, control plane, worker node, add-ons. See, draw architecture. So if I will tell, one second, I'll show you the architecture. 1 minute. Yeah, I'll just show you. Yeah, see. So draw architecture, control plane, worker node, and add-ons. So before going to explain this architecture with you guys, I want to explain you what is control plane, worker node, and add-ons. So if you will ask me control, net architecture, so control plane will be managed by whom? Control plane will be managed by AWS, and that is worker node. Where is worker node? And that, see, AWS managed, and EC2 nodes will be Fargate. Fargate means serverless. So that will be add-ons and pods. Now, if I'll explain this diagram in a more detailed way. So that will be EKS control plane, that will managed by AWS control plane, and VPC will come into the picture. So VPC is nothing but virtual private cloud. So in that two thing will be there, managed node group and Fargate pods. So node managed group will be EC2 instance, and Fargate that will be serverless pod. And here that will managed by pods itself. So that you people understand. Now types of compute, so that this I show you with diagram. If you want to take the screenshot you can take, otherwise if you want today I'm going, if you want to take a screenshot take it. Now types of compute: managed node group, self managed node, and Fargate. Three types of compute will be there. So first we will discuss what is managed node group. So managed node group means AWS managed lifecycle, that will be update, running health checks. And self-managed means you have to manage like EC2, AMI, scaling. And Fargate is, that is serverless, where servers will be not there, no nodes, no port. Directly it will run to the directly it will run. Okay. So next, like in our organization, I do use Fargate. But when I was in my previous organization, there we used EC2, self-managed node. Now diagram with VPC, subnet, ALB, node, and pods. So I just want to draw. 1 second, give me a task. Yeah, so it will be this only. Okay, now 10 to 20 minutes we have to discuss in networking in EKS. So that that is the topic VPC CNI plugin. What it means by VPC CNI plugin, how pods get to IPs. So each pod get an ENI that we will call as elastic network interface. If for example, if one pod will be there, so that pod will get a separate IP that will call elastic network interface with an IP from VPC subnet. So pod will appear as a first class citizens in VPC. Okay. And problem of IP execution. So that we will understood. Now, problem of IP execution plus prefix. So first we will understood IP execution problem. So if many pods, I'll tell. See, if many pods is there and that is equal to many IPs, okay, and if we'll say that is equal to subnet run out. Understood? This is the problem. Now, what is the solution for that? Prefix delegation. ENI can allocate multiple prefix, more pods per node. Now come to the security groups for pod. If you will ask, so security groups per pod, like you can attach SG at a pod level instead of only one node level, like fine grained security. Network policies. No, network policies is see, small demo I'll give. Kubectl will get pods hyphen n cube system to show AWS not CNI. If in a simple term, if we'll say, so Kubernetes level firewall rules for pod to pod communication. And that this is the command for that. And you will see node pod running is equal to VPC CNI plugin. Now, identity and security. So in that IAM integration, so in IAM integration, AWS IAM control AWS resources access and Kubernetes RBAC controls cluster access. It is RBAC plus IAM. So now IRSA, IAM role for service account set step by step. For example, pod accessing S3 bucket with IRC. So in that steps will be there first where it is step by step I told you now, yeah. So first step, like it will be enable OIDC provide enable OIDC provider in EKS. Second thing, we have to create IAM role with a trust policy linked with the OIDC. And then we have to annotate a service account with IAM role ARN. Okay, now at last pod using the SA will automatically get AWS permission. If you're talking about example, let pod accessing S3 bucket with IRSA. So you can, create IAM and give the role. Uske baad that we will give to S3 read policy. Okay, if you'll do like that, then you will create SA and that SA is equal to S3 class and you can deploy with the SA. It can read S3 bucket policy. Now, best practice, like you can enable control plane logs, API audit, authentication and all. Now come to the things that is storage and load balancing. Okay. So in storage, EBS will be there. EBS means that is elastic block storage that will give per ability zone good for the databases. And if EFS will be there, EFS is shared storage that will work on multiple ability zone and that will good for the application. And third is FX is there, that is specialized storage, that is Windows or Linux HPC according to that. So for GP cluster IP node port. So storage class GP will, if you want, I'll give the you know uh, code also, like we do right now. API, we are API version, that is storage dot kubernetes dot io backslash version 1, and that kind will be, you can give storage class, and meta metadata will be, we can give name, for example, gp3 and provisioner parameter type. In that way we can give. Now service type, cluster IP. So cluster IP we use for internal only, and where we click with the service type is nothing but how you can show your application. So cluster IP we used for internal purpose only. Node port will expose, but that will be 30,000 to 32,767. That port range is there. And load balancer, AWS load balancer, that is provisioned and we can show our application. So for that, for also like API version, kind, metadata name, annotation, and everything you can give. Okay, now auto scaling, that we will discuss when I'll do the practical. Auto scaling and observability. So in auto scaling means horizontal, two type of auto scaling is there: horizontal pod auto scaling and vertical pod auto scaling. So in horizontal pod auto scaling, that scales pod based on the CPU and memory, and one will be cluster auto scales that will scale EC2 worker nodes, and one will be carpenter that will next generation auto scan faster. And for monitoring purpose, we use Prometheus and Grafana. And logging will be like Fluent with CloudWatch for central logging, and that demo like kubectl top pods. Now, this is the command. Now, CI/CD GitOps. So, how Jenkins GitOps action deploy to the EKS? This is our question. So, Git is equal to single source of truth. And Argo City watches Git repository, and that will sync with the cluster automatically. And we have to write one YAML, like YAML is snapshot or YAML file, that I'll when I'll do practical I'll write, and also that is name or something we have to give. Now coming to the interview questions. So which type of question interviewer will ask in the interview? They will ask difference between node group and target. So what is IRSA? That is first question. So IRSA is IAM role for service account. Let's pod assume IAM role securely. Difference, node group versus target. Difference between node group versus target. So nodes group is equal to EC2 based. Okay, you have to manage, and target will be serverless. There here is no node will be there. I'm explaining in one word. You can go and check in the internet, or if you don't understand. Otherwise, if you'll explain in one word, that also fine. How to upgrade EKS cluster? So upgrade control plane via AWS console CLI, then upgrade worker node, that AMI, and then upgrade add-ons. Now, how to solve IP executions? So use prefix delegation in VPC CNI plugins. In this way you can do. EKS versus ECS versus self-managed Kubernetes. So EKS means Kubernetes Managed Control Plane on AWS. ECS, that is AWS Native Control Plane Orchestration. And what is the disadvantage here? Here ECS is there na. If you want to use another cloud platform, you can't use. That will not support. And self-managed Kubernetes means you manage master plus nodes. Both you have to manage. Now, at last, I'll just recap networking. So in that networking part, BPC, CNI, SD policy will be there. And in security, if you are talking about that, IAM or IRSA will be there. For storage, EBS or EFS will be there. And auto scaling, that is horizontal pod auto scaler, cluster auto scaler, carpenter will be there. And for observability, Prometheus, Grafana or Fluentbit will be there. Real time relevant, if you are asking, that most enterprises run production work on EKS itself. And call on action, if you link this, it means if you like link this dive in, don't So this I have just written. This is not the your notes. So uh, it at just last I want to at last, because I completed the theoretical part, I want to say about EKS that it is very important and to us to understand. And now up to now that we have covered this theoretical part of the Kubernetes, and like tomorrow session we'll move it to the Amazon EKS, and there I will show you how to manage control plane and what responsibility will be there. And even I will try to create one project, real time project. I will show with you, and you people can see and do decide that you understand or not. Even though if you didn't understand, just ping me in the comment box that ma'am, I don't want this project, make some difficult project like that. I'll try to make another project. So thank you for watching Study with Varsha. Have a nice day, and if you didn't subscribe my channel, do subscribe it and share it with your friends. Good day.